There is a world happening right now that you cannot see. It lives behind two eyes that can't yet speak. It pulses inside a chest that rises and falls 12 times per minute. It is registered in a brain that is, right now, growing faster than it ever will again for the rest of a human life. Your baby's emotional world. And here's what the real science, tells us. Your baby feels more than you think. Your baby remembers more than you believe. And your baby's nervous system is so finely tuned to you, their primary caregiver, that even the subtlest shift in your energy, your face, your voice registers like an earthquake inside their developing mind. This isn't guilt. This isn't fear mongering. This is a love letter wrapped in neuroscience to help you understand the most important person in your world a little more deeply. Because the things that hurt your baby's feelings, they're not the dramatic things. They're not the obvious things. They're the everyday things, the things we all do, the things no one told us about, 10 of them. And by the end of this video, you will never see your baby or yourself the same way again. Let's begin. Let's start with something that happens in almost every home, every single day. Your baby cries and you, exhausted, overwhelmed, maybe in the middle of something, wait just a moment before responding. Maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Maybe you tell yourself they'll settle down. And here is what is happening inside your baby's body in those seconds. Their brain, specifically the amygdala, which we can think of as the emotional alarm system, has fired. A signal of distress has been sent. Their tiny cortisol levels, the stress hormone, begin to rise. Their heart rate increases, and their nervous system does the only thing it knows how to do. It waits. It searches. It looks for you. Because here is what infant attachment researchers call the safe haven response. Your baby is biologically wired to use you as their emotional regulator. They cannot self-soothe in the way adults can. Their prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, won't be fully developed until their mid-20s. Right now, you are their prefrontal cortex. A landmark study from Harvard Center on the Developing Child described what happens when a baby's cry goes unanswered repeatedly. They called it toxic stress architecture, a rewiring of the infant brain's stress response system that can affect emotional regulation, social bonding, and even immune function for years to come. Now, a breath. Because this is not about perfection. No parent responds instantly every time. That is not the message. The message is this: the pattern matters. The rhythm of your response shapes your baby's internal world. When you consistently come, your baby's nervous system learns something profound. I am not alone. The world is safe. I am loved. That belief, that core cellular belief, becomes the foundation of everything. Their confidence, their capacity for relationships, their resilience in the face of difficulty. It all traces back to this moment, to this cry, to you. So the next time your baby cries and you feel that pull to wait, remember, there is no such thing as spoiling a baby under 12 months with love and response. That myth has been debunked by developmental psychology for decades. What you can do is answer. And in answering, you are telling them in the only language they understand. You matter, I hear you, I am here. And that message, it echoes for a lifetime. Picture this moment. You are sitting with your baby on the floor, soft morning light. The baby is looking at you, really looking at you, with that total unguarded fascination that only babies and the very wise possess. Their eyes are wide, their lips are slightly parted. They are, in every neurological sense of the word, learning from your face. And then your phone lights up. You glance down just for a second, and in that second, something changes. Developmental psychologists have a name for what happens in the space between a baby's gaze and a parent's face. They call it serve and return, the fundamental back and forth interaction that literally builds the architecture of the infant brain. Every time a baby babbles, reaches, or makes eye contact and a caregiver responds with warmth and engagement, a neural connection is formed. Scaffolding, going up. But what happens when the return never comes? Dr. Edward Tronick's now famous still face experiment, one of the most replicated and emotionally devastating studies in developmental psychology, showed exactly what happens when a mother goes from warm, engaged interaction to a flat, expressionless face. Within seconds, the baby tries to re-engage. They smile, they point, they vocalize, they use every social tool in their limited arsenal to get their parent back. And when nothing works, the baby turns away, pulls inward, their shoulders drop, their gaze becomes unfocused. That internal response, that withdrawal, is the infant's only available coping mechanism for what researchers call dyadic rupture, a break in the emotional synchronization between parent and child. Now, the still face experiment uses a completely blank expression. Your phone face is not that extreme. But research published in the journal Child Development found that even partial maternal attention, a mother present but intermittently distracted by a device, produced measurable increases in infant stress behaviors. The babies in those studies didn't have the vocabulary to say what they were experiencing. But if they did, it might sound something like this: "Where did you go? I was talking to you. I was right here. Come back." This is what we can call the phantom parent effect. You are physically present, but emotionally absent. And to your baby's developing nervous system, which cannot yet distinguish between physical and emotional distance, the absence feels the same. It feels like disappearing. The solution isn't perfection. You are allowed to have a phone. You are allowed to need a break. But consider what happens when you put the phone down and return to that gaze. When you say it without words, "You are more interesting to me than anything on that screen." Because to your baby, the most fascinating, important, and irreplaceable screen in the entire world is your face. There is something that parents rarely consider, and scientists find endlessly astonishing. Your baby can read your face better than most adults can read each other, not in spite of being young, but because of it. In the first months of life, before language, before mobility, before almost any other capacity, a baby's brain dedicates enormous neurological resources to one singular task: reading the human face. Every micro expression, every vocal shift, every tension around the eyes that says, "I'm smiling, but I'm not okay." Researchers call this remarkable capacity emotional face mapping, the infant brain's continuous real-time scanning of the caregiver's face for signals about the safety and state of their world. Because to your baby, your face is the weather. If your face is sunny, the world is safe. If your face is stormy, danger may be near. If your face is blank, cloudy, performed, disconnected, the baby's internal forecast system goes into alert. And here is where something quietly heartbreaking happens in millions of homes every single day. Parents, under enormous pressure, exhausted, anxious, or depressed, walk into the nursery and perform. They put on the voice, the high-pitched sing-song, "Hi, baby, hi, sweetheart." They stretch the smile wide. They do all the external things right. And the baby, within milliseconds, knows something is off. A 2016 study from the University of Washington's Institute for Learning and Brain Sciences found that infants as young as 7 months could detect the mismatch between a parent's facial expression and vocal tone. When a parent's words said happy, but their eyes said tired or sad, the babies registered measurable physiological stress responses. 7 months old. The researchers describe this as the infant's biological authenticity detector, a hardwired survival-linked ability to determine whether the emotional signals they're receiving are real. Because in evolutionary terms, a parent who is genuinely present means safety. A parent who is performing presence might be managing a threat. The baby doesn't understand any of this consciously, of course, but their nervous system understands it completely. Now, this is not a call for emotional perfectionism. You are not required to be joyful every moment. You are not required to perform wellness when you are struggling. In fact, and this is critical, research by Dr. Tronick himself showed that what matters is not sustained positive emotion from the parent. What matters is rupture and repair. The moments when you are flat, disconnected, or overwhelmed, and then come back. The moments when you acknowledge, "Mommy was sad today, but I'm here now." Those repair moments, they don't just restore the connection, they build something stronger. Because a baby who learns that disconnection can be repaired, that relationships can weather emotional storms and still hold, develops what psychologists call earned secure attachment. They grow into children who trust, into adults who can tolerate difficulty without abandoning connection. Your baby doesn't need a perfect face, they need a real one. There is a moment that happens in almost every home with a baby: the morning rush. You need to be somewhere. You have an appointment, a meeting, a school run, a deadline breathing down your neck, and your baby, your beautiful, unhurried, completely time-unaware baby, is doing what babies do, moving slowly, pausing to stare at a dust particle floating in the sunlight, refusing to cooperate with the onesie buttons, deciding that right now is the perfect moment to discover their own fingers for the very first time. And you feel it rise, and that quiet, desperate urgency. We have to go. We have to go right now. So you scoop them up faster than usual. You dress them quickly, efficient, mechanical. You move through the feeding without the usual pauses, the songs, the eye contact. You strap them into the car seat with focused speed. You are not cruel. You are not uncaring. You are simply hurried. And here is what your baby's nervous system experiences in those moments. Researchers studying infant procedural memory encoding, the way babies build internal models of how the world works, have found that daily routines are not just practical for parents. They are profoundly psychological for babies. Routines are your baby's first experience of predictability. And predictability to an infant's developing brain is not just comforting, it is safety defining. When you always sing during the bath, always make eye contact during feeding, always pause to let them grasp your finger during dressing, your baby's nervous system begins to map these moments. It builds what developmental psychologists call an internal working model, a deep cellular blueprint of how interactions feel and what to expect from the world. Now imagine that blueprint being suddenly disrupted. The song doesn't come, the eye contact is absent, the gentle pauses are replaced by efficient movement. The hands that usually move slowly are moving fast. To you, you're just in a hurry. To your baby's nervous system, something is wrong. Their cortisol begins to rise. Their body goes into a low-grade alert state. And because they have no framework for understanding why the world has suddenly changed texture, why the hands are different, why the face is different, why the rhythm is gone, they can only conclude one thing: the world is less safe than it was. Dr. Megan Gunner at the University of Minnesota, one of the world's foremost researchers on infant stress biology, found that babies exposed to chronically disrupted caregiving rhythms, even subtle ones, showed elevated baseline cortisol levels over time, not from dramatic trauma, from the quiet daily erosion of predictable warmth. Now, and this bears repeating, occasional rushed mornings will not harm your baby. Life is not a controlled laboratory. You will be late. You will be hurried. You are human. But here's what you can do, even in the rush. Talk to them. Narrate it. We're moving fast today, little one. I know. I've got you. That voice, that steady, warm, explaining voice, activates what researchers call the co-regulation bridge. Even when the external routine is disrupted, your voice becomes the portable version of safety. Your baby cannot understand the words, but they understand everything about how those words are delivered. Slow your voice even when your hands must move quickly. Make one moment of real eye contact during the rush. 1. Let them know, in the language that exists beneath language, that even in the hurry, they are seen. That message, repeated across 1,000 rushed mornings, becomes something extraordinary. The world may move fast sometimes, but I am always here.